we are going to learn how to use a graph to predict what quantities are going to happen in the future, and also learn how to read a graph so that we can tell what data points happen approximately in between given values. So let's just dive into this to see what we have in store. We're told to estimate how many goals a team scored after 10 games and 12 games. Well, we take a look at the graph, and we're told that we have goals scored by a field hockey team. So on the vertical axis here, we have the number of goals scored, goes up by 5s for each block. And then we have the number of games played. It goes up by 5s every 2 blocks. That's just to spread things out. So if we're asked to figure out after 10 games how many goals were scored, it's not that bad. You go to 10 games on the horizontal axis, and then you trace up with your eye to this point right here, and you say, that would roughly be, we do an approximation, I don't know, 31 goals or so. So that would be about, and I'll use this about symbol, 31 goals. That's it. So you go to the horizontal value, number of games, and you trace it up with your eye to the Y level that happens at that same horizontal value. So after 10 games, roughly 31 goals. We don't know that for sure. We're just getting a rough estimate, but that's how quick it is to read a graph. So after 12 games, how many goals about will we have? Well, 12 games is roughly here. This would be about 12 and a half. So 12 games is roughly here. So we trace that up roughly, well, somewhere around here. It might actually even be that point right there. So this point is roughly at about 35 goals. That's it. That's all there is to it, to reading a graph. And here's a fancy word for you. We just interpolated. Oh my goodness. Interpolation. So we just interpolated. There's a big word for you. It means that we looked in between the values that were given to approximate what value we have at a certain other horizontal value. In this case, it was number of games played and number of goals that were scored by the team. Now we're going to use a graph to do what's called extrapolate. All right, enough with the big words. We're going to predict how many goals the team will score after 20 games played. Well, 20 games is roughly somewhere along this line right here. So I'm going to kind of just draw a dotted line all the way down the graph. And the reason why I do that is I want to extend this line out. That's all I want to do. So I'm going to just draw like a rough sketch, dotted out like this. So that's rough. Roughly, we're going to score this many goals. If we extend the line out this way, it's going to cross with where the horizontal value of 20 games is played. And that is at 50, 55, 60 goals. So that's going to be approximately 60 goals. Now, is that an exact science? No, we're approximating. That's it. So graphs can be great for use to approximate values and get a really good idea of what's going on when two quantities are related. In this case, number of games played and number of goals. If you're looking at this saying, yeah, I've got this, I'm ready to rock, great. It's an important concept that you're going to be using again and again and again that will tie in as you get more and more advanced math. If you're looking at it saying, I need another example, have no fear. Here's an example of something that we graphed out in an earlier video that we can actually use to now predict. So let's say that I want to know, we've got the distance jogged over time, and the distance here is in this column. Times were here, and we graphed out all the points and connected the dots. Now, with this particular graph, let's say that we wanted to know the approximate distance we've traveled after 30 seconds. So you'd go to 30 on the horizontal axis, trace it up, and say, that's approximately, well, this goes up by 20s, so I don't know, that's roughly 43 meters, maybe, ish. And then let's say that we wanted to predict how far we'll jog after 100 seconds. Well, here's 100. Right here, you trace it up with your eye, and you extend the line out. And let's see where that happens. Well, that's extended out to the 100. That's roughly at about a height of, I don't know, 150 or so. So that means that after 100 seconds, we can expect to have gone about 150 meters. That's all, folks. We can use graphs to quickly predict and also find values that have already happened when we're comparing two different values. It's very, very awesome stuff.